Now we're starting part 5, coaching assignment goals and skincare goals. Since goals are thrown around in skincare coaching circles like pizzas at Italian restaurants, I figured I would start with explaining precisely where most coaching assignments succeed or fail from a client's viewpoint. The most important aspect in a client's mind is whether the results you promised and the skincare assignment goals they engaged you for actually happen. It's that simple in the client's eyes, yes or no. One of these days, a client or one of their friends will ask, did you get what you wanted out of the skincare coaching thing? The underlying question is, did the skincare coach meet your expectations? When this question comes up, the client is going to think about why they engaged you. What exactly was supposed to happen? What were the goals? And did the client's goals happen as expected? You really want the answer to be, yes, I couldn't be happier. I achieved what my skincare coach said I would. You should absolutely book an appointment with my skincare coach. So, how do you make sure that this answer occurs? You make sure you keep the focus on the goals and the anticipated results. Your primary job as a skincare coach is to make sure the client stays on track with their goals and that you appropriately manage their expectations as they relate to anticipated results. Why did I mention skincare coaching failure? Because clients say the number one reason that they're dissatisfied with coaching arrangements is because the original skincare coaching goals were not met. That's really extremely important to note, because you never want a client to say that about any of your skincare coaching assignments, do you? How does that happen? Coaches don't start off not wanting to help their clients reach their goals. That's a given. In fact, skincare coaches want clients to reach their goals. Often the issue is when the clients enter into a skincare coaching assignment and the initial skincare goals are discussed. As the assignment moves along, these original goals shift, they change, or are forgotten, either by the skincare coach or the client. And while that doesn't seem logical or even possible, it happens all the time. It's the number one failure reason for failure in a skincare coaching assignment. The burning question any skincare coach should have is, how do I avoid this? To answer that, we have to start with the understanding that the coaching assignment goals and coaching section goals are of primary importance. So what's the difference between initial overall coaching assignment goals and session goals? Why is it important to understand that difference? Coaching assignment goals are defined as the client's hopes, their dreams, their purpose, their aim, or their desire for this engagement. In general, coaching assignment goals tend to be broad and they represent a long-term skincare vision of what the client wants to achieve when they look at or feel their skin. When you read the definition above and saw the wording desire, it made me stop and think. The word desire in the definition is a little concerning. As a skincare coach, you might find out that the clients tend to desire things they don't actually believe are within their reach. The word want is then so critical when you ask about the client's coaching assignment goals. If you want your client to have an element of wishing and hoping, but desire is big, and when it comes up, you need to discuss it. Sometimes they've struggled to hit their skincare goals in the past. This could be part of the reason why. The best way to get to the client's coaching assignment goals are to go through your intake process documents where you obtain the client information, you ask the goals properly, then you examine them and discuss them openly and honestly. From the past, what happened in the past when they tried to reach those goals, what's happening now, and what do they think is going to be different in the future. You have to ask the goal as a goal-related question. Coaching conversations are important, so here's a great example of a script that we suggest at the onset of your coaching assignment. We're going to go over your skincare goals and what you want your skin to look like and feel like in a few months. I found that if we stick to a goal finding out process, this goes smoother for both you and me, and it keeps your goals front and center. I've already checked off your Fitzpatrick skin type as a category 5, and your skin type is dry to normal. Now, let's start with the list I've given you where we can check off areas of concern or top priorities for your skin. Next, let's get to your goals. If I could ask you to write them down or say them by starting your response with, I ideally want my skin to look, or I ideally want my skin to be like. If we write the client's answer down verbatim when we ask these questions by using their exact words, it's important. Do not prompt them or put any of your own words into their goals. These have to be in their words. What they want is extremely personable. It's in their head. You just have to coax the words out of them. Sometimes it's best to allow the client a solo moment to write these down. You can excuse yourself and give them at least 5 minutes. As soon as we have the overall goals, we're going to talk about what that looks like from a measurable standpoint. The goal is to take a series of photos or videos showing improvements that align with your client's goals. And finally, we're going to go over your current routine, including what you're using, what you like, what you might find that you want to explore. If these are areas that are a bit squishy right now, that's okay because you haven't figured it out or you need guidance, and that's exactly why we're here. No problem. Skincare coaching is very flexible and a fluid process based on what you need as a client and what you want to explore. And sometimes you don't even know what that is until we're in the coaching process. And I get that. Check what's happening throughout your coaching process and constantly go back to those goals and you'll be okay. If you check that these coaching assignment goal words are correct in the client's view before you end your first session, and ideally can recap those coaching assignment goals at the end of every single session prior to booking your next session and prior to finishing, that will go well for you because the focus will be there. Let me give you some example of skincare coaching goals that the client might like. If you start with prompting mechanism that we talked about, sentence like I ideally want or I want, this makes it easier and quicker to get the client to open up about their skincare goals. The most important thing to remember is to wait for the client to answer. If you start providing the goals, your skincare coaching sessions will be in trouble later. Why? Because you're going to be working on what you think the client needs to focus on and not what the client's true goals are and what their motivations are. Make sure that you curb your enthusiasm to help complete the goal sentences. The best way to do so is to remain silent. I know it's hard. And when asked for examples or prompted because they don't know what they're doing, don't give them the answer. Just say it again. With an incomplete goal sentence, I want, just finish the sentence. I ideally want my skin to what? I want my skin to look like this. I want my skin to feel like this. I ideally want my skin to feel like this. And then just be quiet. I ideally want my skin to stop the aging process just for a little while and look less wrinkled. That's a great client goal, but it needs to be in their words. And as soon as they say it, you write that down identically, verbatim. When you do this, your coaching sessions will start off well, and when you reiterate them and keep on recapping to those, you'll get to those goals, and that will build your business too. Because if the client gets to their goals, they'll come back to you and they'll recommend you as well. Now, I said that you shouldn't prompt your client, but a lot of coaches, and I do it myself, provide a cheat sheet to the client in front of them. This happens to be the second most effective way to get to goals. You want to get the client's goals out of their mind and onto the table for skincare coaching sessions. We don't have a lot of time. So the reason this cheat sheet method is secondarily as effective as the first is that these aren't exactly the client's words. Plus, your client might be selecting things to please you or checking off goals they think they should be doing because they've been programmed by the beauty industry to think that way. However, the coaching goals cheat sheet is ideally a way to prompt them. So it would say things like, I want my skin to look moister, or because it's dehydrated now and parched. I ideally want my skin to look smoother and to have a reduction in weekly breakouts. I ideally want my skin to look a bit younger and to minimize or at least plump up my wrinkles. I ideally want my skin to feel less oily. I ideally want my skin to look less dry and flaky. I feel that I have the after effects of slight sunburn every day, even though I never tan my skin. So I ideally want my skin to look less patchy and at least eliminate some of the blotches from excessive sun damage in the past. I ideally want my skin to feel soft and smooth. I ideally want my skin to feel hydrated. I ideally want my skin to feel even. I have little bumps all over it that I don't like. One of the things that I counsel coaches in is a process behind coaching, and that starts with the anticipated results, and having a process is really important. So let's go over the process that I use. I look at expectations and results from the coaching assignment goals. In a skincare coaching assignment, you should always start with the end in mind. With any goal, a client will expect some kind of improvement. They'll have an anticipated result in mind when they talk about their coaching assignment goals. You have to get to the understanding of what kind of expectation the client has. Managing expectations are very important to your business. Let's look at how this works. When the client says what they want, maybe it's clearer skin and a more even complexion. This could be a wide range of anticipated results. As a coach, you might think that an 85% reduction in blemishes from where they are today would be a fantastic result to anticipate. But if the client wants 100% clear skin, 0 blemishes as their anticipated result, there's a potentially massive disconnect that will lead to disappointment. And disappointment is the kiss of death for satisfaction for any coaching assignment. Uncovering the client's anticipated results, what exactly and precisely does that end result look like, is important. The great thing about coaching assignment goals is that they're broad, and the bad thing about them is that they're open to interpretation. This is where anticipated results should be defined. This is what you should say to your client to ascertain what their view of success looks like. When you're seeing if your goal is happening as anticipated, we can prove it and measure the progress in this way. If you're clever and prudent, you'll write the anticipated results down precisely as the client sees them and describes them as they look into the future. If you do this for every one of the client's coaching assignment goals, your purpose is to always manage the anticipated results against and according to your experiences with clients. In managing expectations, you should really consider things like the client's demographics, their habits, their determination, as well as what skincare program might be expected to deliver and, in the real world. Let me repeat what a coach's job is. Your primary job as a skincare coach is to make sure the client is reaching their goals. That's it. You're going to hold them accountable and support them to that end. Now let's talk about smart skincare coaching goals. The most effective coaching assignment goals are couched as SMART goals. SMART is an acronym that encompasses 5 critical points of goal setting. Let's examine these 5 points. The S in SMART is for specific. Is your client's skincare coaching goal specific? The more specific it is, the better chance your client will complete exactly what they set out to achieve. For example, you wouldn't set a goal to have better looking skin, but rather to ideally reduce blackheads and enlarged pores around my nose. I'll invest 5 minutes every morning and every evening to do my skincare routine, which will make sure I'm cleansing out my blackheads and my enlarged pores within 3 months. By being specific about the amount of time and the effort it'll take and focusing on the results, your client can easily figure out how to monitor progress and actions. A universal skincare goal principle is the less specific your goal, the harder it is to hold a person accountable. Also remember that breaking the goal down into smaller periodic checkups will allow you to determine if your client is on track to meet that goal or not. When the goal statement lacks specifics and the things aren't going as planned, it's all the more difficult to determine what exactly is going wrong. You need specifics so that you can make adjustments and get back on track. And you want to do that quickly. The M in SMART is for measurable. A SMART goal absolutely has to be measurable. The number one reason why goals are abandoned is that progress seems slow in coming. If you can measure just how far along your client is at any given point, then you have a better chance of maintaining your client's excitement towards achieving that goal. This is where documentation and photos and videos are absolutely critical. Blackheads and enlarged pores is a good example. If your client were forced to rely entirely about how they felt to know that they were actually reducing pore size or the number and size of blackheads, your client might get discouraged and quit too soon. Instead, you can use documentation and close-up photographs and videos to precisely measure your progress. You'll have the proof to confirm that your client's skincare coaching goals are on track. Without measurable confirmation of progress along the way, most people give up. When they give up, they fail to change their habits. Without proof, most clients just can't seem to sustain the momentum necessary to finish their skincare coaching goals. The A in SMART is for attainable. A SMART goal is always attainable, especially when it comes to skincare coaching goals that require a lot of resources. It doesn't do any good to set a goal that your client doesn't have any possibility or the means to achieve. Before you make something an active goal, make sure that the prerequisite is there. For example, a goal to completely eliminate wrinkles for someone past 35 is completely unrealistic, I wish, and it's unattainable. But to reduce the appearance of fine lines and lessen the depth of wrinkles by better hydrating the skin and using serums morning and night like I do to keep mine away is a better goal because it's attainable. The R in SMART is for realistic. Realistic is different from attainable in the sense that a goal may be attainable but unrealistic. If, for example, the client has the means to achieve it, but the goal still doesn't mesh well with reality, the goal is not realistic. For instance, imagine that you were an eccentric 60-year-old billionaire with all the money to pay for any skincare procedure or treatment or product available on the planet. The skincare coaching goal stated, I want to ideally look like I did when I was 35, and I want to look 100% natural. While you might have the capital to attain this and the money, it's simply not a realistic goal. As a skincare coach, you may have to expand the client's thinking about what's possible, but you might sometimes have to help them step back and assess the probability of their success before moving forward. The best defense against failure is pre-thinking how your client could fail and then having a solid plan that mitigates failure and enhances the probability of realistic and attainable success. And lastly, the T in SMART is for time. for each skincare coaching goal that there is a time element. This sense of time gives your clients more motivation to actually work towards their skincare goals. It creates a sense of urgency and acts as the impetus to propel your client into action and keep them going. If you don't help them set a deadline and achievement dates, you probably will actually slow down your client's achievements. So let's go back to the reduction of enlarged pores and blackheads as the example. Having a goal to reduce blackheads by 50% in the first shedding cycle is a better goal than reduce blackheads by 50%. Using time frames gives you a deadline for achievement. Putting the goal in the present tense makes sure that you think about doing the action steps now. Setting a deadline helps you realize that if your goal is attainable and realistic, it will probably work. And most important, if you get that goal ahead of time, it's very motivating and something to celebrate. Remember to consistently buffer zones for your goals, time zones for your goals when you're setting a time component. Also, you don't want to wait till the last minute or the due date to take action. If the client's got a wedding coming up, you can't wait till the day before. Preparation is appropriate, and setting realistic time frames is great. Keep in mind that when you talk about time frames, it's going to be different for different people, and that's important. Now that you understand what SMART goals are, analyze your client's goals and make certain that all of their objectives have SMART components in them, and the other components in the skincare coaching chart that is in your materials. Now let's talk about coaching session action steps. These are short-term objectives that your client promises to do or achieve between now and the next time that you touch base. Unlike an overall coaching assignment goal, coaching session action steps are rooted in intention, doing, and planning. Session action steps are things, tasks, actions that they actively are going to do between now and when they see you next. These are things they actively plan to work on within a very short period of time, and that by doing so, these actions fold into achieving the overall coaching assignment goals. Let's explain this better by thinking about the planning of a dinner party. Let's say the overall goal is to have a memorable low-cost birthday celebration for your mother in 8 weeks. The anticipated result is that your mother is surprised and happy, and that her family and friends are there, and that she has a good time with lots of photos taken. The things you need to do prior to the party, the overall goal, are likened to coaching session action steps, in that they are the milestones and tasks that you need to achieve. If you miss on any of these, the likelihood of your party having a goal accomplished with the anticipated result that you wanted decreases. However, put in more positive terms, if you hit all of these interim goals, the likelihood of a successful overall outcome increases significantly. Here's how that might look for that party. Between now and next week, you need to reach out to people to make sure they can attend. The second week, you put in a notional menu and ask people what they would like to bring. The third week, order the decorations. The fourth week, get the paper supplies and the cake. The week before, confirm everything and make sure that the plan to get mom there is solid. The day of, execute the plan and have a lovely time. Don't forget the photos. Running coaching sessions is much the same. And now that you understand what action steps are, you'll appreciate that the best way to start every skincare coaching session is to circle back to the beginning of the coaching assignment goals and discuss the overall coaching assignment goals. Then look at milestones and progress before you start the new session. Make sure you have your notes from the original overall coaching assignment goals from your discussion in the initial intake skincare coaching session. To get your overarching or overall goals, there are usually several smaller goals and steps along the way. These are typically a series of targeted coaching session goals, action steps, and they have been discussed in your ongoing coaching sessions. You'll examine the original overall coaching assignment goal and focus and align these with every current coaching session that you have with the client. As an example of this, let's look at the actual client's goals and their view of anticipated results. Looking at the coaching assignment goals in this way, one of the client's initial assignment goals might be to reduce discoloration and unevenness of their complexion. Anticipated results. When I reach my 8-week mark for my goal, I'll be comfortable without wearing foundation, especially on the weekends, because the really red areas of my skin will be at least 30% improved and I'll feel better about myself. This doesn't mean my skin will be perfect, but it will be noticeably improved because of the program that I'm implementing. At the 6-month mark, I anticipate that my breakouts will be reduced from every 2 days to once a week, even better if it's less than that. Today's current session goals. In this session, because you said that vitamin C might provide the type of results that might align with the overall reason your clients engaged you as a skincare coach, for this session, the action steps today are to discuss vitamin C. You want to chat about some of the benefits of vitamin C, including the appropriate strength, figure out how this ingredient might fit into the client's lifestyle and skincare program, go over the pros and cons of incorporating it. You also want to discuss when not to use it because of sun exposure, and you want to go over the product options. Here's another example of this from an actual client's skincare goals. So the overall client coaching assignment goals were, one of the client's initial goals was to reduce the ashiness and get more healthy looking skin, preferably a more glowing type of skin. When she stated the anticipated results, it sounded like this. When I reach my 8-week mark for my goal, my skin will be softer and less ashy than it feels today because I will be regularly ridding all of the top of my skin of that flaky skin that sits on top on the surface. Also, I foresee that my pore size will be improved and that the blackheads will be much less noticeable around my nose in particular. So today's current session goals, in this session, we're going to be talking about how to achieve those anticipated results. Because you noted that the client is not exfoliating, you think that adding this step and monitoring it might provide the type of results that might align with the overall reasons that she came to you in the first place. Your action steps today are to discuss exfoliation, chat about some of the benefits of exfoliation, review the structure of the skin as it relates to the exfoliation process, explaining how exfoliation helps the skin shed layers and rejuvenate itself. You also want to talk about the need for both manual and chemical exfoliation, including the appropriate strengths. And you want to figure out how exfoliation might fit into the client's current skincare regime and program and her lifestyle. And you also want to go over the steps that it's going to take and the commitment that it's going to take to achieve a good regime of exfoliation, both on a daily and a weekly basis. Next, you want to figure out a way to monitor the exfoliation schedule and process so that it achieves optimal results. You want to discuss why too much exfoliation is actually bad for the skin and what to look for so that this doesn't occur. Now we want to talk about multiple coaching session assignment goals. It's not unusual for the client to have several coaching assignment goals at once. When this occurs, you must separate them. Each distinct coaching assignment goal must be addressed in terms of its unique situation, behavior, and anticipated result. When your coaching assignment is completed, you want to be able to show the client obtained some value for this engagement. And this means that you should ideally also track anticipated results versus actual results. The best way to do this is to take before and after photographs and video, document what the client is experiencing, feeling with regard to their skin, and talk about what success looks like right from the beginning and throughout the process. You also want to talk about the action state. Words and planning will only take you so far. The client actually needs to act. Based on the definitions of coaching assignment goals, coaching session goals, and anticipated results, here's what we suggest. Set a coaching assignment goal. Here's an example. I ideally want to reduce inflammation and breakouts. Break the goal into objectives. Here's an example. Exfoliate regularly. Cleanse the skin morning and night without fail. Use a clarifying serum. Moisturize properly according to the schedule. Next, you want to discuss the actual results versus anticipated results. You want to make course corrections. An example of this is facial skin overall. Document it and look at what it looks like in terms of different sections, the nose, the cheeks, the chin, the forehead. And then what you want to do is actually add the steps in that the client should take and for the next goal. One of them might be actually to decrease exfoliation on the cheek area, because that's getting a little bit too raw, but keep it good in the T-zone. So these course corrections are very important to get the results that your client wants with their skincare program. A word of caution. The issue is, because they're excited about what the two of you are working on, they might come into a current session with new information, a product they saw online, or they want to discuss what their friends are using because they're super excited. Sometimes what they want to talk about in this current session aligns with the overall initial coaching assignment goals, and sometimes it doesn't. So of course you have to discuss what comes up because this is part of coaching. However, you need to make sure that you're always aligning the current coaching session action steps with the initial coaching assignment goals, the overall goals. You have to note it should be something that you circle back to at every session. You're allowed to go off course because that pleases the client too, and things come up, but you need to get back on track with the original assignment. Otherwise, you're going to be in trouble later. Sometimes the goals actually radically change, and if they do change, you need to step back and have a discussion with the express goal of resetting the coaching assignment goals. Coaching sessions, suggestions, some of the things that you're going to talk about that I think are important is that you should always recommend that the client books an annual skincare checkup with a medical professional. Every single person that had skin cancer wished they caught it earlier. The way to actually catch skin cancer earlier is to make sure that your client books an annual skincare checkup as part of their health and wellness routine at a very minimum. If they've already had cancer, of course, they're going to listen to their specialists, and checkups should be done annually at the very least with medical professionals, and then treating the skin and taking their advice with regard to frequency of checkups after that. And you're going to look out for anything and note these for the client as well. You are, however, not a medical professional, and you should not be saying whether that is cancer or not. You leave all of that up to a medical professional. Your advice is to have it checked up. By working with their skincare coach, a client can prepare questions for their skincare medical professional, and this is a huge benefit for the client for working with a coach. A skilled dermatologist can actually benefit from some of the questions that are coming up in skincare coaching sessions, and it actually targets a little bit better, where the dermatologist can evaluate your client's skin for symptoms, including rashes and growths and changes in texture or tone, and catch these issues before they become major concerns or a death sentence, all because you're documenting. Most people make the mistake of only seeing a dermatologist if they have an immediate concern, such as a suspicious growth or a mole that gets out of control, or problems with acne or breakouts. It's important to document and provide those pictures and that documentation to the client so that they can have a history of their skin. This could be the difference between a good diagnosis or not for their medical professional, because they don't see them more than once a year at best, most people. This is really important. One of the things about skincare coaching that I think is critical is that we can save lives by insisting that our clients book those appointments, and make sure that you do that as a suggestion. What are other suggestions that you can make from a skincare coaching point of view? Well, you can suggest that the client cleanse the skin before retiring to bed. Cleansing their face before bedtime is one of the most important routines you can suggest to a client. Doing so avoids the damage of free radicals that they can cause. If your client wears foundation or makeup, cleansing the face before bedtime is absolutely critically important for the health and appearance of their skin. Leaving makeup on overnight can lead to clogged pores, acne, and irritation. And cleansing also removes the dirt, the sweat, and other impurities on their skin that they pick up during the day. If your client leaves these on their skin, they risk bacterial, fungal, viral contamination, and none of that's good. From an appearance standpoint, cleansing is important. In fact, from an appearance perspective, making a consistent effort to cleanse, tone, treat, and moisturize the face every night before going to bed can reduce blackheads, it can prevent wrinkles, can keep your skin looking more youthful and healthier and glowing. So as a coaching suggestion, if you know that your client might be too tired to wash their face directly before bedtime, or that they've told you that this actually wakes them up, splashing water on their face, you can suggest other ways that they wash their face directly after dinner, for example, before they watch TV or read a book. The important thing is to get into a routine of cleaning off the day's debris from the skin, as well as allowing the skin to have the best chance to rejuvenate itself by applying treatments and moisturizers for hydration at night. Also, one of the suggestions that you make is that they exfoliate regularly. If you remember, exfoliation is very important because it removes dead skin cells from the skin surface and debris. Exfoliation, whether chemical or manual, is an encouragement for new skin cells to regenerate, revealing a new layer of healthy skin. When your client exfoliates regularly, they'll experience firmer skin, smoother texture, and their skin tone will even out. Some additional benefits include firmer skin because you're stimulating the collagen and elastin growth, which in turn will have a helpful effect on lines and wrinkles because they'll appear a lot less visible or deep. So that's important. Now, over exfoliation can be very detrimental to the skin's health. The client should be looking to achieve a situation where their skin responds well to gentle exfoliation elements that they have to incorporate into their skincare routine. If any damage occurs because of exfoliation, the client should immediately dial back the intensity or the frequency. Additionally, good coaching advice would be that if the client's skin has never been exfoliated before on a regular basis, they should really start light. You should recommend that they build up their tolerance for exfoliation over a period of time, especially if their skin is sensitive, stressed, damaged, dry, or thin, or mature. Many clients, when first introduced to exfoliation, are so happy with the results that they've been demonstrated in the skincare coaching session that they're completely over exfoliating in their enthusiasm, and that indeed can cause damage to their skin. So you must warn them about that. Please emphasize this when you start them up on this program. The next thing you want to suggest is that they wear sunscreen every day. We want to reduce sun exposure. As a skincare coach, please recommend that your clients monitor and reduce their sun exposure, advising that the clients seek shade, wear protective clothing, wear broad spectrum sunscreen, SPF 30, for example, every single day, even when they are going out and it's cloudy. With these clients, this helps the client take much better care of their health and their skin. Along with protecting your client's skin from sun damage and premature aging, they'll also be proactively protecting their skin from skin diseases and skin cancer in particular. In addition to wearing sunscreen every day, you should also make sure to recommend that clients apply the correct amount. If there's one product that should never be scrimped on, it's sunscreen. If they don't apply sunscreen liberally, and if they don't, they'll only receive a fraction of the SPF protection that it was promised, leaving their skin vulnerable to the damaging effect of the sun. And they need to reapply it too, liberally. The other thing that we can make suggestions about is that they moisturize daily and in the evening. This is super important to protect the skin and to hydrate. Moisturize daily and nightly. It's the key in keeping it healthy, preventing wrinkles, alleviating itchiness and dryness, and helping it rejuvenate itself. Moisturized skin is typically more healthy and protected than parched skin. So to keep your skin looking and feeling its best, your client should moisturize at least once a day, as well as prior to going to bed. The best time to moisturize your skin is immediately after a shower or bath, since warm water and steam opens up the pores. And another excellent time to moisturize is directly after any exfoliation treatment. These situations allow serums and moisturizers to sink faster and deeper into the skin and work more effectively. Moisturizing isn't only for dry skin. If the client has oily or acne-prone skin, moisturizing is vital to overall skincare health and protection. If your client's oilier skin doesn't respond well to moisturizers with heavy concentrations or rich cream-like formulas, we do recommend that they look for a thinner or lighter solution, like lighter lotions or serums or water-based formulations. It's good advice. We also say, as skincare coach, hydrate the body. Give your skin cells a little bit of water, more than you would normally. Drink plenty of fluids and water. Do what you need to do to provide the skin with hydration that it needs. How do you do that without clogging the pores? That's what the client wants to know. Don't moisturizers clog the pores? Well, if you use a great moisturizer, no, it actually helps. When you don't take in enough fluids or water, your skin can lose elasticity. It can actually become dry or irritated or itchy. It leaves the skin more vulnerable to contaminants too, to infections, irritations, and skin inflammations and adverse conditions, including acne. And if your client lives in an arid climate, drinking water is even more important. The skin loses a lot of moisture in desert-like conditions. Recommend that clients keep a water bottle with them all day, monitoring their daily intake and upping their fluids by taking a few additional sips per hour. Stay away from sodas and caffeinated drinks when increasing their fluid intake, as this can adversely affect health and skin. These are all great pieces of advice to give your clients. One of the most important is that they should avoid contamination by touching their skin too much. As a skincare coach, one of your jobs is to help clients stop non-healthful skin habits. Touching the skin is a contamination vehicle. The habit of touching the face, the neck, the body is something that you should suggest that the client avoids. Even if they wash their hands often, it's extremely easy to transfer germs from a surface to your face without even realizing it. Keeping your hands off your face as much as possible keeps pore plugging, bacterial, fungal viruses from actually reaching their target area, which is your skin and your pores. Keeping your hands away from the skin, especially the face, will result in fewer breakouts and less potential for irritation. If the client does say they have a tendency to touch their face, propose that they find something else to touch. This is one of the easiest ways to break a habit. They can purchase a bracelet with beads to keep their hands occupied, or if their hands go toward their face, remind themselves to rather play with their hair or a necklace, anything but their face. Either of these is preferable than touching their face directly. Additionally, make sure that the pain of touching their face becomes a mental pain. How? Suggest that they keep hand sanitizer at the ready. So every time they catch themselves touching their face, have them immediately sanitize their hands, swab their face with a cotton ball with a gentle toner, then spritz their face with moisturizer to rehydrate. They'll soon learn that touching their face causes them a lot of work. The next thing that you can suggest is that they never pop or squeeze pimples or squeeze zits. They never make this an open wound. Another bad habit is popping pimples, picking at scars, and the temptation to pop pimples or pick scars is a tough one to break. People mistakenly believe that popping pimples actually helps them go away faster. A little client education might be in order about the consequences of popping pimples. This practice can actually cause scarring, increase skin infections, amplify the risks of breakouts, and cause the cycle of further breakouts because of the damage that you cause to the skin underneath the surface. This is really important education. Here's what your client needs to know in simple terms. When you pop a pimple, all the bacteria inside that pimple is released onto and into the skin, potentially creating further breakouts and the potential breakouts in the surrounding areas. Additionally, popping a pimple causes your skin to work harder to heal the newly opened wound, which can actually result in scarring and hyperpigmentation. Most of your clients already know this, but it still hasn't stopped them from the habit. As a skincare coach, your job is to help them stop these habits, but how? By providing suggestions that might work. Tell them they're not alone in this habit. The skincare industry's created acne covers to actually help people from stop popping pimples and zits. These bandages are covers that keep clients from causing further damage, but these band-aids also help the area heal quicker and with less damage. People scratch and pick at scars because they're itchy and annoying. So this is a natural thing that they do. When scars, actually start to heal, they dry out, and in doing so, they shrink, pulling the skin together, and that causes irritation and itching. So one of the most effective ways to actually stop people picking at scars is to keep the scars moist, and that reduces the itchiness. And to help the client pimples heal as quickly as possible, another consideration is to include ingredients that have antibacterial properties, which also help the skin heal quicker, which is really important. You want to help kill acne-causing bacteria. With this in mind, topical acne medications containing ingredients like aloe vera, royal jelly in liquid form, effective and essential oils, glycerin, as well as salicylic acid, alpha hydroxy acids, retinol, tea tree oil, niacinamide, benzoyl peroxide can be all highly effective in shortening the timeline and therefore minimizing the damage the client might cause to their skin. Now we go on to situation, behavior, and anticipated results. As a skincare coach, you're the person providing feedback and delivering coaching on something very important to your coachee, their skin and their appearance. Setting up your coaching session for success right from the start will ensure that your session actually goes well. We suggest that you frame it in terms that are easy to remember for you and your client. Logically, you're going to have to look at what they're doing right now, their current situation. Within that situation, you're going to start analyzing their behavior and the skincare routine, the past, the present, and finally, you'll discuss their goals and the results they're hoping to achieve. Kicking off your coaching sessions by framing it in terms of looking at the situation, the behavior, and the results will really help you set the stage for great skincare coaching sessions. This setup should occur before addressing any concerns that the coachee might have. So let's look at the situation. You must analyze the situation analytically in order to remain as objective as possible. During the coaching session, you'll be giving the coachee feedback. You're going to examine the situation at hand from the perspective of seeking to understand why the person is doing what they're doing, where they're getting their information from currently, and what they might potentially change and why. Approaching the situation objectively allows for a thorough and fair assessment of what's happening. It can actually shed light on significant findings and help you best understand where the coach is coming from. And that's important. This is regarding their knowledge of skincare in general, looking at the situation objectively without preconceived notions or judgment. This will also help you better address many of the topics that need to be discussed. Now you're going to look at the behavior, the actions. As you look at the situation, you must identify the specific behaviors that the skincare coaching session should focus on for the best results. First, you're going to determine if the behavior can and should be altered. If it's not a behavior that can be realistically altered, then feedback or coaching might not be warranted. For example, does the individual understand what needs to be changed and why? And are they capable mentally or physically of accomplishing that change? An example of this would be if the person's goal was to alleviate cracked heels on their feet. However, looking at the situation and asking questions, you uncover that the person is physically incapable of bending over. Then coaching them how to put a heavy moisturizer on their feet every evening before going to bed might not be appropriate or wise for this situation. As a coach, you'd have to come up with an alternative solution that would work within the physical constraints of that client. If the answer is yes, they're indeed capable of looking after themselves with this situation, then the coaching solution is appropriate and could be and should be delivered. Put simply, a coach should never set a coachee up for failure. Be certain that you've delivered the knowledge and the how-tos to your coachee so that they can actually achieve great skincare results. Set people up for success. So the basic model for changing behavior is important in coaching. There are many ways and many models to change behavior. Positive reinforcement, where you say, excellent work, great job, more of the same. You can do punishment, negative consequences. If you don't do that, then this will happen and you won't like it. Or modeling the preferred behavior. Let me show you. Or you can coach. And in coaching, you observe, you ask questions, you suggest corrections, you repeat, and then you empower. As far as empowerment, you say things like, you got this, you can do it. And then you help them with discipline. Just do it. Make sure you do it. In all of the models, the goal is the same. You have to identify the behavior that's not working. And the goal is to put in place steps that will replace the behavior that is currently not working with behavior that works. And then you're going to reinforce and strengthen and support the effective behavior so that it continues forming a habit. Now, with anticipated results, that's based on expectations. You have to be clear on what you expect to happen from the individual. What results are you looking for by providing the feedback? What and how and why does this help to forward momentum to their goals? And what's their responsibility look like? A balanced budget prepared every Monday by 8 a.m. in a spreadsheet format. That's a responsibility that they've learned in corporate. or in their job. Why can't we take this same type of accountability and responsibility into skincare? You said you were going to clean your face every day, every morning. You said you were going to use serums. Be specific about what behavior, and people will usually meet the standards that you set for them and that you're clear about. The good news is that people tend to exceed expectations when directions are clear and when they think that you're cheerleading and vested in their success. So we do have coaching scripts about the history of skincare inside the program, and one of the ones I want to go over is about Michelle. Michelle is a 40-year-old female who has extensive sun exposure and damage. Michelle has not taken care of her skin, with the primary cause of premature aging being, of course, inadequate and ineffective skincare and sun exposure. Michelle has washed her face with shampoo and moisturized with a petroleum-based product, and she has not used sun protection, nor does she have much knowledge about skincare products or ingredients in general, as you can well imagine. She's looking for a coach to give her guidance on how to make her skin look and feel better. So the situation, the action, results, and the coaching conversation would look like this. This is an example of how to set up the situation, behavior, and results coaching conversation. Here's the situation. Michelle, now that I understand the situation you currently have and what has happened in the past, I want to reiterate that as a skincare coach, my job is to make sure that we put together an action plan that will work for you. The bottom line is that we're striving for optimal and realistic results. If I understand your goals correctly and properly, you said that you wanted to learn how to potentially reverse some of the damage caused by extensive past sun exposure. And you also said that you wanted to focus on getting your skin healthier and looking better and less parched and wrinkled. From a behavior standpoint, as a skincare coach, my main concern is that you haven't had enough experience with a comprehensive skincare ritual or routine. In my experience, without adequate skincare habits, we will not get the results that you could. So our first area of focus is making sure that we create skincare habits morning and night so that you get the results that you desire. Today, we're going to go over the 5 elements that encompass a great skincare routine, starting with cleansing, pH balancing and toning, exfoliating, rejuvenating and repairing, moisturizing, and hydrating. These together should take no more than 3 minutes in the morning and in the evening. What are the anticipated results, the expectations we'll get? If we can get you into these habits with the products and the ingredients that will be most beneficial to your skin, I think that you can achieve and maintain those goals that we discussed. Now, what are the action steps? You're going to want to discuss how to potentially and realistically achieve the goals that Michelle, the client, wants. So you're going to have to walk through the options that are available within any client constraints. You're going to have to examine the pros, the cons, and possible ways that those action steps will achieve that goal. In skincare coaching, well-designed action plans actually make it easier for your client to track and realize their coaching assignment goals and their coaching session goals. With the level of detail in your action plan, it can vary based on the client's experience, their understanding, and the complexity of what they've agreed to work on. So action plans and steps can be as simple as a bullet point or as complex as an entire documented list of instructions. You and your client can agree on the detail levels that work best for you and their goals. So what is an action plan? An action plan lays out the tasks that your client needs to complete in order to accomplish their skincare goals. It also breaks up the process into actionable assignments and steps based on an agreed time frame. A good action plan will outline all the necessary steps to achieve your client's skincare goals and help them reach those goals efficiently by assigning a time frame, a start and end date, to every single step. Depending on your client's needs and preferences, you can use one document or a bulleted list or a single or multiple goals on a piece of paper. It really doesn't matter. It isn't as important as making sure the system works to hold your client accountable as far as the format goes. What you really need to do is get their commitment and to track new habits that they're trying to put in place. That's the real objective. So an action plan ideally makes it easier for your client to stay motivated and for you both to monitor progress towards their goals. The steps you help identify should provide a clear path to move towards your client's goals in a confident, organized, and methodical manner. Therefore, it's important to group similar tasks together as well as to put them in the appropriate order to achieve the action steps and the goals in the most efficient way. When your client creates a list of tasks they need to complete in order to reach their goals, there's a much better chance of them actually completing those goals and of them changing their behavior. This process entails dividing their main coaching skincare assignment goals into smaller objectives and action steps. If you booked multiple sessions with your clients, which is what we're recommending, then you can make sure that each of the goals is in the sessions called coaching session goals. Creating goals that the client knows you're going to monitor has a few benefits. It can certainly make the final goal seem less overwhelming. Having action steps provides a process whereby they can move closer to their skincare goals in an organized step-by-step manner. Action steps clarify and often simplify the process. If a skincare assignment goal seems too vague or too intimidating, like I want a smoother complexion, you and your client can discuss exactly what it takes to accomplish this and break this goal into action steps that actually work, ones that are less obscure and are perhaps more actionable. 2 or 3 smaller action steps or items that seem more doable will actually help the client understand what they need to do. If the client wants smoother skin, here's an example of a simple action list. So the goal is to get smoother skin. The action steps for this month, you will concentrate on an exfoliation schedule and using a smoothing serum under your moisturizer. Your exfoliation schedule will look like this. Chemical exfoliation, you're going to use a 30% to 40% glycolic acid rapid exfoliator weekly for the first month. You're going to decrease the use of the 40% glycolic acid rapid exfoliator to every 10 days to twice a month within 6 weeks. You're going to decrease the use of the 40% glycolic acid rapid exfoliator to every 14 days after that 6-month period has gone by. You're also going to use a silicone buffer in the morning with a gentle jojoba bead exfoliating cleansing lotion. And you're going to use a pH balanced toner after cleansing. As far as serums go and moisturizers, here's your schedule. You're going to use the smoothing serum with the rosehip and hibiscus every evening under your night cream. You're going to wait a full 2 minutes after applying it before you layer on your night cream. This is important so that you give the serum time to soak deeper into the layers of your skin. We ideally want to leave it until it has dried. Rosehip is renowned for its tendency to fight lines and especially tackle stubborn, deep wrinkles. Rosehip can lighten stretch marks and scars with continued use. Hibiscus boosts an array of benefits. It has a whole array of healing properties when applied topically in a complex serum such as the one that you're being given today. It's also high on the list as an antioxidant, which is important for the free radicals that we discussed.